That's
And okay, I was okay. I'll wait for him.
okay. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, how are things going? Do you have any questions in general to start, or?
Well, I think it's going good. I'm just like missing the restatement of my thesis, and that's all. Well, and the references list.
Okay. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, I'm going to. I was about to paste the reference that I have. So. Yeah.
So you don't have your references yet?
No,
Okay.
I'm going to.
Just be careful that that every reference has a citation. Every
Yeah.
citation has a reference. Yeah, and that you have at least 10 references. And
Yeah, and that document is the one that I already did. I mean, I modified like the length of the
okay.
of the paragraphs. I tried to. Well, I pay attention with my topic sentences.
Great.
And the
Okay.
I was providing.
Okay.
I was like,
all right.
oh my god, I have
Okay, let's take a look here. Let's see. Okay, so the effectiveness. Okay.
And I have questions of that.
Okay, perhaps we can use these same ideas and your thesis statement, and let's see, giving instructions to language. Okay, so all right, so the reason to the effectiveness of giving instructions to language learners depends on how. All right. So I think I would focus. I would not say the. I would start with. The effectiveness of giving instructions to language learners depends on how verbal are employed in order to. Okay, it's okay. The only thing to meet implications of such delivery. I don't know if there's a different way. The effectiveness of giving instructions to language learners depends on. And the thesis, you're saying it depends on this. Try to think of the claim as you proposing something instead of saying that it depends on this. Okay. Say something like, make a claim like, instead of depends, it requires both. Let's see, or it requires complementary verbal and nonverbal communication, or that you are stating that these two types of communication need to are related, that they complement each other in order for students to better understand the message. I mean, that's kind of the claim that you're making, that you are proposing, that you need to have, and you have the idea here. It's just just a little bit saying, and I would probably replace the word depends for a different verb, and the effectiveness. Okay, that's okay, I guess. The effectiveness, but you can put it here at the beginning, or you can put it at the end. You can say
like implications of given instructions involve like the complementation of verbal and non-verbal, blah blah blah. For example, like this.
Yeah, you can say, or integrating verbal and nonverbal communication allows English language learners to better understand instructions. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be really long and complicated, but it does. Yeah, you're close here. Just think about. Yeah. It's not a big deal, but it's coming together. It's a lot closer here. So,
Yes.
all right. So let's take a look.
So I modified that. Well, I moved them that like the implication right at the bottom, like the very end after
Okay.
like explaining the use of verb and the communication.
Okay. All right.
And well, I modified each paragraph and what else did I say?
Here I would say, and more specifically,
Okay.
language teachers.
Yes.
At the moment.
And in nonverbal, I kind of like explain gestures, like as a whole, like gestures like body movements, and then eye contact, this and this, and then we have body movements, blah blah blah, and then eye contact, blah blah blah. And
Okay.
facial.
So like
blah,
each
blah, blah.
paragraph
Yeah.
you're talking. Okay. All right. Good. So how do
I'm missing
teachers?
the last paragraph. Like I cannot like just the paragraph 10 for my research.
Yeah. So I don't think this is a problem in your case, but yeah, make sure you're not saying this research in any part of the literature review until the very last paragraph where you introduce your paragraph. So think about kind of that when we talked about in applied linguistics, that last paragraph where we restate the thesis statement. So in this last paragraph here, restate your paragraph and then transition into introducing your research questions. Now, your research questions, you don't have to list them out as bullet points. You can just say, okay, the first research question is, and the second is this. And then maybe like one closing sentence just to kind of
close
something. Yeah.
And then that question would change. Like I would write it like more specifically, like how the teacher makes use of verbal communication through repetition and or.
How many concepts are you discussing for verbal language?
Like repetition.
Because if you have too many,
It was repetition and.
Or how do teachers use different forms of verbal language or different, and I'm saying forms, but you can use a different word, different approaches to verbal language when giving instructions? And then another question, how do teachers use different forms of nonverbal communication when giving instructions? Could be.
Yeah, because it's more like the forms.
How often do you?
Yeah.
And how? Maybe a third question. Maybe how do the verbal and nonverbal forms of communication relate? Like the relationship. So you're kind of looking at how do they do one, how do they do the other, like isolated, and then maybe how they relate, possibly.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to interview students? Are you focusing on students at all?
Well, I was thinking like to observe students' reaction towards instructions. And I was thinking also, I don't know if it will be useful to interview also teachers.
Let's see, how can we, so you have questions about the teachers. You're going to be observing teachers. But in the thesis, we're thinking about saying so that students can understand.
And so maybe.
So maybe we.
Maybe like a question or.
I'm just thinking if it's necessary to include the students or not. because it could just be focusing on the
teacher.
teachers.
Mhm.
Now, not so much the students, but we would have to modify our thesis statement to not mention so that students better understand, or that students that, I mean, you know, well, think about the thesis. We'll look at the thesis again, okay?
Mhm.
But I think at this point we can just focus on the teachers.
Mhm.
So you'll have your own observation. You observe what the teacher's doing. You may observe what the students are doing, but it's not really the main focus. It's more just how, it's more about the teacher and the teacher's approach to giving instructions. Now you can interview the teacher. So one is your own personal observations. You can interview the teacher maybe a couple times depending. So we have interviews, we have your observations.
That's the one I thought of.
And we might have anything from, if they have a syllabus, maybe. I'm thinking about if they have the activity that they are giving instructions to, something in writing to see how they are describing, you know, what is the activity. Who are you planning on observing, do you know?
I was thinking, well, can I observe here from the university, or also
Yeah, you
can I
can
go
observe.
to
I mean, I don't know if you're you're not really focusing on a level or an H level, so. But I'm thinking if you could find teachers that have a very detailed lesson plan, you could use the lesson plan to complement that. That would be additional information, because you can relate what type of activity as they're writing it, and ask them and observe how they give instructions on the activity, but the activity that's in writing. And then you could talk to them. Okay, I see you have in your lesson plan this activity. I observed your class, and then talk about the instructions. Because we want to try our best to triangulate the information that we use. So, you know, observations is one, interviews, and one other type, preferably. And one could be the lesson plan. If you focus on, for example, 3 teachers, you could do observations, interviews, and focus groups. With the 3 or 2. But it depends on, you know, how much, like how many classes you're going to observe, and how much data you're going to be transcribing, and all of that. Because it could be time consuming, capturing, you know, you don't have to do a discourse analysis on the entire class, but like we mentioned, you're looking for those moments that they're giving instructions. Probably no more than 2 teachers, actually.
I was thinking like 2 teachers.
Yeah. And then you could do kind of a comparison between the 2, and then you could still do, preferably if they're from the same school, and if they're from the same school, perhaps the same level, and see, there's a lot of different options. You can do different levels, same levels, but yeah, I think maybe 2 teachers, and do a, but I was thinking the focus group is more practical if they're both teachers are from the same school. That would be the idea. So okay, so yeah, I think just modify just a bit the research questions. And
thesis, so I can restate it there.
Yeah.
And well, I already placed some references. Well, I haven't. References. Those are the ones that I had from like last semester.
Okay.
And I haven't added them yet. The ones that the new from the.
So these are your references here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a part because I haven't.
Okay. Just be careful to. Okay. I think. Are you missing page numbers here?
Where?
Not sure.
Some of them, like, they don't have them they don't have them really.
But is this a journal?
Yeah. Education journal.
If it's a journal, it really should have page number, I think.
Let
Unless,
me see. And for example, those from that which have no date, they don't have like page number. I have to the one from La Primera and
but is
Sunday.
this a internet?
Yeah, I should have like retrieved from this page. And
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's
well,
an internet, yeah.
Even though it
I
is
mean, a
a
web page.
PDF.
It doesn't matter. If it's a PDF, look first to see if it's published. So if it has like information of the publisher, like the journal number, page numbers, and all that, then treat it as a journal. But if it doesn't, then treat it like a website. Because sometimes we see like published journals that aren't coming from the databases that we typically refer to, but they just upload it on the web. And so in those cases, if it looks, and it should say at the bottom or at the top.
Yeah, and it doesn't have, so if they don't, I have treated like a website. Like
Yeah,
from
exactly. Yeah.
If I don't remember the date in which I retrieved it.
No, that's okay.
That's okay.
That's optional. The date is optional.
Oh.
You could just say retrieved from and then the URL.
Okay.
Yeah.
A ver, dice que elementary school student.
This one,
Which one?
the
Samperio
Samperio.
is like the same from La Barbera. I
Okay,
think I'm
double
going to
check.
treat it-
Yeah, double
I'm going
check.
to treat it like a website.
And what's your capitalization
Yeah.
here?
Also
And-
from the book, it's like capitalization is just the first.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, chis, ese
Just a
yo lo-
reminder.
Yeah, es que ese yo los había corregido porque
See?
no sé cómo, no se guardaron. Ya les había quitado las.
Oh,
Antes
okay.
con las todas,
Bueno.
pero no sé por qué.
All right.
Bueno,
So,
está bien. It's fine.
yeah, these are just small things. These are just.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks in general looks good. These are just
Sí, me falta
details.
Muchas.
Yeah. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Fácil faltan como otras 10.
Okay. Okay. All
Entonces-
right. Is there anything else you want me to look at specifically, or
Well,
it looks like it's coming together nicely?
yeah, and I heard that direct quotations only 3.
No more than 15% of your total text.
No, but like
Oh.
direct quote. Yeah, direct quotation.
Direct quote?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
No more than 15.
15% of your.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so no more than 15% of your total text should be
Yeah.
direct. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I have like I think 4 or 5. and
So
I
it's not
was-
so much the
No.
number, it's the number of words. So
Oh.
yeah, it could be, I don't know, 2, it could be 5, but it depends on the
The
number of
length.
words. The only reason to use a direct quote is when somebody says something
something
really,
really
really
important.
interesting. If you can say, if it's like
Really like.
something that you can say just as well, or it's just that it's not really that
Yeah.
attractive or engaging, then just put it in your own words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have.
So-
Really few.
And also make sure, I don't think it's a problem in yours, but make sure that more than 50% is an original thought, so you don't have too many
Yeah, well, actually,
citations.
I try, like in each paragraph, for example, like to have at least 1 quotation or 2.
Yeah, in each body paragraph you
Or-
should have at least one citation.
And
But-
because sometimes I contrast like some idea with another author's idea, then I comment it.
Okay,
That's why. Sometimes it has 2, sometimes. Maybe
that's
3, but it's
fine.
really
That's
weird.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. And if one paragraph you tend to have more quotes than original
Yeah.
idea, that's okay. But I'm referring to the whole lit review, so So just be careful that the whole lit review that you have more original ideas than citations, right? Right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I was taking into account that.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think yeah. There's I don't unless you have some other doubts.
I have not no.
I think how many words do you have?
2000. Let me see. 2,323, and I'm missing like the paragraph, final paragraph.
Okay.
So it's like.
In fact, you're a little over because you don't have your introduction either. So.
Yeah.
But don't worry about your introduction now.
Yeah. So just this is.
But you have, yeah, your word count is okay. All right. Well, just try to finish up here. Make the last minute changes today.
Until what?
All night.
All night.
Yeah, midnight. You can be working all night long. No, I'll probably download them in the morning. I'll download.
Tomorrow in the morning.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
So
we have all night.
You have all night, yes.
All night.
But I think you're.
6 in the morning.
Yeah, 6 in the morning. I think you have most of it together. Double check the announcements that I have in Canvas just to make sure.
And the paragraphs, they have like the first and the last idea of a paragraph are mine, right? Original. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The first and the last always.
Yes. And usually the analysis is your ideas where you talk about the evidence. And yeah, you analyze the evidence and you talk about the relationship between the evidence and the main idea. So it's that sometimes it gets confusing. Students that are not sure about what to do on the analysis. Talk about the evidence and the main idea. Try not to make any conclusions that talk about things that really don't relate to the evidence. There's like a fine line between analyzing and taking an evidence and then saying something that's kind of a stretch. So just stick to the evidence and the main idea, or the evidence is something that you've mentioned before. That's fine too. You can compare your evidence with something that you've mentioned before in another paragraph or another section. In fact, I encourage you to do that because we want to link what you've already said. So you talk about section 1, then you talk about section 2 and the relationship, how those are linked. So these sections are not completely isolated. You need to try to draw them in and say, what's the relationship between everything, not just the one idea in the one paragraph or the one section, but everything. So as you introduce new ideas, kind of go back and connect, right, so that there's a relationship, right? So that's the idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And so here we have just double check that if you haven't already.
I checked it twice.
Okay, great,
yesterday.
great. Okay, just want to make sure.
I checked, because I wanted to be sure that the introduction was not going to be written, only the thesis statement.
Right, just the thesis. Yeah.
Well, some other things. So.
Do you have any questions about what I'm mentioning here, or doubts?
I think I don't. Let me recheck just.
Okay.
Usted está aquí hasta como hasta las 3, ¿verdad?
Sí. Hasta las 3. Ajá. I have sessions until 1, so I'm available between 1 and 3 if you have any questions. Or.
Okay. Yes, that one. I have just only level 1 and level 2 headings.
Okay, that's fine.
No, that's all. Yes, no, that's all.
Okay.
That rubric is the one that you will use to grade.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's the same rubric that the senior Dallas would use.
Same. Oh, okay. Good. Okay. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a grade, like a percentage, and then I'm going to give you the rubric, and I'll be
Okay.
kind of grading it.
Grading. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the idea.
Okay. That was like maybe the question that I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay, teacher.
hang in there. Go ahead and try to finish up then, and next week we'll start talking about
instruments.
the instruments, designing our instruments.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very
Lucía.
much.
Hang in there. Talk to you later. Bye.